Welcome to another episode of Straight Like That, the podcast, hosted by me, Instagram's favorite half brown boy, Camille. I got a real rapid footballer, man. I seen him play once, took a blink, next thing I know, ball's in the back of the net. I got the boy John Lewis with me today, man. What's going on?
I'm all right. Just
Yeah,
doing my thing, continue to do my thing. So I'm all right. Happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
yeah, man. Thank you for spending some time with us and talking about the game and your journey. So, man, let's get straight to it, man. Why football? How'd you get into it?
No, so I'm actually first generation American in my family. So my mom's half British, half Trini, and my dad is Jamaican. So I just feel like it's just something that my family's just been in and around my whole life, going to visit the Caribbean when I was younger. I also lived in Jamaica when I was younger. It's just something that I fell in love with. So growing up in America or starting my life in America, soccer's not that big, but I just seemed to just like it. I guess when my parents tell me when I was a little kid, I would always go and kick the ball. They thought I was going to play soccer or baseball. So they said I
Yeah.
would always be one of those two for sure. But I think living in Jamaica and going to visit my grandma, especially in Trinidad, like every summer during like elementary school summers, I just really picked up on it and I just really like always liked it. Started to watch it when I was younger. And from then I just always fell in love with it. I just love the passion of the game. And I just think that seeing like it's like how it is on TV, like I never really got into like American football, seeing these big
Mhm.
stadiums in American football. So for me, seeing soccer, the big stadiums was where it was at for me. So I just always loved it. And just like even just like the arguments I get into with like my uncles and my brothers, like that are all big football fans. Like,
Yeah.
my older brother loves Man's Arsenal, my little brother loves Manchester City, my uncle's a Man United fan. So just that passion and that I see that the game brings out in other places in the world. It's like I actually love that a lot. And then just from then I just always liked it.
Yeah. So were you born in the U.S.?
I was born in the US, yes.
Okay.
So I lived born in the US, but I lived in Jamaica and I've just lived all over the US as well. So but like I said, none of my family is American at all. So we're first generation Americans,
Yeah,
me and
yeah,
my siblings.
yeah. So when you were playing, you said in Jamaica and stuff, and then when you came back to the U.S., how old were you when you came back to the U.S. and start playing over here?
I think I came back to the United States, was it fifth grade, maybe sixth grade?
Okay,
So yeah, probably what, 10 or 11 years old. So
okay. And did you notice a little difference between the football over in Jamaica whenever you were playing, and then in the States?
oh, 100%. I mean, even just when I would go, like I said, visit my grandma in the summers in Trinidad, you just see like it's a grassroots sport over there.
Right.
It's obviously in America, it's a lot. It's I would say it's more organized in America, of course, but you see the different kids that play in those countries versus in America, and I just think like the love for the game in like even at such a young age, you can just see like everyone loves soccer
Yeah.
over in the Caribbean. Everyone loves it in Europe. And I would definitely say growing up, like until I got to like club soccer and when I was in high school, like I feel like a lot of some kids just did it just as it was just for fun, just to exercise, and their parents just put
Right.
them in soccer just to exercise. There was no some people didn't even care for soccer when I was playing like recreational, like they didn't care. They was just like for fun to make friends when they were in middle
Mhm.
school whatever. When I played middle school soccer, like I said, it was just for fun. And I feel like, kids had the dream when I lived in Jamaica. We're in fourth grade, and I'm in Jamaica, and kids are having this dream like, I want to be the next Messi or the next
Right.
Ronaldo, or they're training like every single day at 10 years old, 11 years old, staying after school, like there definitely wasn't that drive or that passion for the game at a younger age for me when I was playing recreational, and it's like I said,
Right.
until I went to club soccer, that's when I started to see, well, at least there was more drive because kids wanted to go to college and play. But like, I would definitely say like it was more like live and die by soccer when I lived in Jamaica or when I would go visit versus in America. It wasn't necessarily like that.
Yeah. So do you think, having that time in Jamaica and playing, with kids that had the passion, so when you came to the States, did you kind of notice that your passion for the game was just levels above everybody
Yeah.
else?
Well, the thing is like, how it is in America. Like when you talk sports, like obviously, like even in our locker room right now here in Colorado, like when we talk sports, we don't even really talk about football that much. We talk about NFL, we talk about basketball. Something
Yeah.
there's a group of guys that talk golf, but like in Jamaica or like in the Caribbean, I did a little bit of time in England. I lived there. Like all you talk about is football.
Right.
Jamaica they talk about track and field a little bit, but because obviously Usain Bolt, but it's always football. It's like the arguments, the sports arguments. It's always like, no, Man United's better than here, and Chelsea's better.
Hmm.
No, so like everything I feel like even like even girls, they talk about when they talk about sports, it's always it's football.
Yeah.
So for me, you just see it's like it's a lifestyle over there. It's like whenever you have a sports day, like it's not playing other sports. It's like when we had field day when I lived in Jamaica and I went to school. It's like the field day was you would play soccer, like literally.
Yeah,
So
man.
that's it's just different. It's a cultural thing. It's like
Hmm.
football is just it's submerged in the culture over in the Caribbean. It's like that's
Yeah.
what they watch. There's no other sports.
Yeah, and that's nice too. I mean, especially if you love the game, because when you're surrounded by all that and you love the game, bro, it's like a perfect match made in heaven type shit. Right. So you
Yes.
come to the US. You said you're playing middle school, you're playing club and everything like that. Um, During your club days, I guess what you're 13, 14.
Yeah, 12, 13, 14. Yeah,
Okay.
13. I think I started travel. So I played recreational still when I came back from Jamaica. And then I went to travel soccer when I was, yeah, like 13, U13. That was my first year.
Okay. Okay. So at that age, did you kind of notice, you're a little different than everybody else?
Nah, honestly.
Huh?
So this is a funny story. I used to suck.
Oh, nah, that's cap. No.
I promise you, I was not good growing up. I'm not joking. So I would say I didn't realize I was actually like good enough to even play college probably till
Hmm.
I was 17. And within a year and a half, my whole life changed. So I'll give the rundown. So I
Yeah.
grew up playing for a club called Plantation Eagles. It's down in South Florida. So I grew up in South Florida. Small club. My whole team was a bunch of Caribbean people actually. So we were one of the only almost all black teams in South Florida. A lot of teams were out of Miami or
Yeah.
Boca Raton, Hispanics, some white people, whatever. So we were one of the predominantly black teams. All the kids were from Jamaica, Trinidad, different place, Haiti, everywhere in the
Hmm.
Caribbean, or we had a South African on our team. So, but yeah, no, I was never a top player at all. I had two things that I was always good. I was able to dribble the ball. I could that was like one gift I did have when I was younger. I could just dribble as many players as I wanted, and I could run fast. I
Hmm.
couldn't finish at all, at
Okay.
all. Couldn't cross the ball, nothing. I would have to dribble the keeper to score. Like if I'd shot the ball before dribbling the keeper, I couldn't score. So I think so. I wasn't always, and so I started out as a right back and a center back,
Okay.
as that's
Center
how I
back is
started.
crazy.
Yeah. No, so well, no. I originally came to my travel team as a forward and I wasn't
Okay.
scoring. So they moved me back to center back because I was
Yeah.
fast. I was always small, but I was fast.
Hmm.
And my coach, growing up, he's from Tunisia.
Okay.
So he loved the game, but I don't know what he thought. We were FC Barcelona 3.0 or something like that. But he thought like maybe moving me to center back slash right back, like because I could dribble,
Right.
I could dribble out of pressure and step into the midfield and stuff because my
Okay.
qualities were not scoring. So I didn't play forward.
Right.
So then I started out there and I didn't like it. So then I obviously would complain and I was like, no, I want to play forward. I want to play forward. So then I got to U14, started playing as forward, but I couldn't score. Like I actually couldn't score. I think my U14 year, I went the whole travel season. I scored one goal the whole year.
That's
And
crazy.
I'll never forget that. And just so yeah, when I was younger, I just wasn't very good. And then I honestly I probably would say up until like U16,
Hmm.
then I like started to like become better. I met this one coach who he just I don't know what it was, but we had a kid on our team that we had like two kids on our team that were playing club soccer, and I think in our back when I was playing club soccer, that's when academy was starting to get like really big. So it was around the time
Yeah.
like when Kellen was playing academy and like a bunch of
Hmm.
other big players that are playing in the MLS, like older guys. So I think the academy was getting big around the time that I was still like that transition, like U15 to you were supposed to go to academy. So,
Right.
but we had a kid on our team who was still playing like travel soccer. And he made the youth national team. And obviously all those kids were playing MLS academies at U14, U15. And this kid, so like obviously he was like the hot big star for our
Hmm.
team. And I was just never there. Well, this one coach came and he saw me and it was just like, if I can teach you how to finish, you have a career in soccer. And I'm like laughing at him, like, bro, I don't even start on my club soccer team. Like,
And this is
I
what
can't.
you're 16 at this point, 15?
No, so I was probably like 14 or 15, yeah. And
Okay,
like, so
still
I met this
young.
coach, his name, and to this day, I give him credit. I don't think I would be where I am today if I'd never met this coach. No, it's a little club soccer team in South Florida, Plantation, Florida. And I
Yeah.
met the coach that I would say 100% changed my life, changed my career. And like, to this day, I give him all the credit. So
Yeah.
met him, he took me and he was like, I'm going to teach you how to shoot.
Okay.
And long story short, he would take me to the field. I was one of those kids that like I would go to the field every single day, just trying to train with everyone. I would train with the
Hmm.
girls team. I would train with my little brother's team. I would train with my team, just because like I loved it so much. And I
Yeah.
wasn't good though, but I just wanted to get better, and I just loved it. Like like I just love going out and just running
Yeah.
around, and just So then he was like, instead of spending all the energy doing that training 3 times a day, like I'm gonna get you like props. So he would come to the field early with me and just start helping me shoot.
Okay.
And like we would shoot on open nets until like my issue was I never had the right technique, how to strike a ball. And
Okay.
that's all he started to teach me. And just like practicing, just getting it off the floor, lacing it into the open net. And
Hmm.
then we started to progress side footing and this and that and the other. And then like around U16, I just started to score goals.
Hmm.
And I just changed. That wasn't the change yet. I'll get to the change that really changed my life. But then U16, so now I'm becoming like a good player in club soccer. I'm starting for my team. I'm scoring all these goals. So now people are like, okay, wait a minute. There's some kid from Little Plantation Eagles scoring some goals. I made our my state ODP team, ended up going to like a regional camp and started to make my way into the soccer world amongst
Yeah.
players who, top young players in the country. And it's kind of like, okay, like I'm starting to see something. But
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
difference is now this is like U16, U17. Everyone's going to academy. So whether it's MLS academies, there's kids I played with on my ODP team from they're playing at MLS academies or getting recruited to go, and I'm still playing for my club soccer team. So
Hmm.
I never knew how good I really am. And then I think so by the time like junior high school comes around, um, because even like high school soccer, my freshman year, like I was a starter on my high school team, but I wasn't good. Like I said, like and this is high school soccer.
Yeah.
Like,
Just dribble it and pace, man.
yeah, I was just like, no, I wasn't good. Like, so then
Uh-huh.
I think junior year of high school, um, I don't know, something just like clicked in my head and I just started to just like become a pretty good player. And like we what ended up like I said, our club was like a smaller club, but
Hmm.
like we did well in state cups. So you remember back in the day, like they had like the Region 3 Premier League, or not like
Yep.
the Region
Yep.
Premier Leagues and like
Yep.
the state. So our team, like we were the first team in Eagles history to play in those tournament in those like leagues.
Oh wow.
And I just started to do well in those leagues. And it's just like, damn, like Johnny can actually play. And like, and like all these other kids that are like supposed to be the bigger players that are,
Hmm.
like they weren't doing as well in these competitions. And I was. And it was just kind of like, I don't know. And it's like, I'm still in my head. I'm just like, yeah, like I'm just getting lucky. Like it's just like I didn't have like a lot of confidence in like myself about it. And then just like I think what really changed my life was that the summer of my junior year going into high school, like I said, like I'm not really getting college looks yet or anything like that. But I was doing well for my club team. But like again, we played local league and then we made it to like Region 3 Premier League and whatever. And I did well in those leagues. I went over to England
Hmm.
and I went on some like it's like this like team that like you had to pay money for it. And like just the opportunity we got to go over and play against some like League One English like academy teams and I absolutely like destroyed it. Like did well so well that I ended up going on trial after that. Just from these 3 games that I played, I went on trial at Fulham and Middlesbrough. And like I'm telling you, a year ago, I
Damn.
couldn't.
What the
Yeah, like a
hell?
year. Yeah, that's why I was just like a year ago, like I couldn't even score the ball. And it's like, and I think from then, that's when I was like, okay, wait a minute. So I went on loan or trial at Middlesbrough. And within the first 2 days, I'm 16, 17 years old. They asked me to train with the first team. And then it
Oh,
just like
was
I
it all in the
said,
span of 1 year?
yeah, in a 1 year span.
So what
Like
clicked over there when you went over there that you were going crazy?
I don't know.
No
I no,
clue.
I'm being so serious. I have no clue.
You
Like
just
it
went out
just
there and just
yeah,
started playing.
just play. I just went and had
Damn.
fun. And it just really just it clicked. So I went on trial at Middlesbrough.
Uh-huh.
Long story short, they ended up offering me like a contract to stay over there in the academy. But at the time, so my mom being British, we have a UK passport. But at the time, I didn't have it, so I didn't have the credentials. So I didn't end up staying. But then I came
Oh.
back to America my senior year, and then I got picked up by Chicago Fire's academy team,
Mhm.
and I went over there. And then, like I said, life changed within a year. I'm playing for the Fire Academy. I was doing well. I got called into the U20 national team around that time.
Mhm.
Um, and then I ended up signing my first pro contract. I went over to England to Bradford City when I was 18 years old. And
Oh
that's kind of
wow.
like how my youth and within that, and then there's another story from that at 18 years old, how I got to the MLS. That all changed, like I said, within a year as well. That one was crazy too. So,
Did
but
you
that's how
see
my
out?
youth career.
Did you see out your senior year of high school?
No, so I went and did online school, and then I went to the
Okay.
Fire.
Okay,
So
okay, okay. And
So I
then
actually played with a few guys who currently play in the MLS. They were on my academy team. So my teammate Georgi Mihalovic, who's U.S. national team player, played at where did he play again? Ozette,
Mhm.
Andrew Gutman. I'm trying to think who else was on our team. There was like a big Mauricio Pineda on the Fire as well. So there's a few guys. Our academy team was really good actually when I went to
Like a
Chicago.
loaded academy team.
Yeah, we had a really good team. I'm trying to think. There is someone else who plays in the MLS right now. Mark Kanich that plays at St. Louis.
Mhm.
There's someone else. I still think there's another person. I can't remember though.
You already
I can't
named like
remember.
five heads, so that's enough to have a
Yeah,
baller team in the academy
yeah,
level.
no. Our academy team. No, to be fair though, the my age academy team, FC Dallas was probably the craziest team I've ever seen in my life. The LA Galaxy as well. But our team, we ended up winning the whole national championship for academy,
The
which
fire
was
one.
yeah, we won it. So my for my year, U17, U18, we won the whole thing.
I
But
mean, I'm not surprised, bro. You listed all these names. I hope you will win the whole
we
damn
no no
thing.
we weren't the best team. Trust me. Like we were very good, top five. But
Yeah.
I'm telling you that FC Dallas team. I mean, they had Weston McKinney and like oh, yeah, that FC Dallas team was
Yeah, but
ridiculous.
I heard Dallas FC Dallas got a good academy, bro. They be putting out a lot of
Yeah,
good players.
like exactly. They had that. My age was ridiculous though. So
Yeah. So what happened? You were saying that you went back over to England after your time at
yes,
the academy?
so I'll touch on that a bit. So
Hmm.
after the Fire Academy, like I went over to England. I signed a professional contract for Bradford City. So I was
Okay.
there for about 3, 4 months. And, sad story, but I did get a little homesick. It was my first time being away from home.
Hmm.
And I wasn't really getting crazy college offers at the time. I had, so on the story how I got to Akron. But
Yeah.
basically, I only had one out because I went to Academy. I was at Chicago Fire for about 3 to 4 months, but then the residency program folded. So I had to come back home. So I ended up going to my local academy team because I couldn't play club soccer anymore because I was registered in academy. So I
Right.
ended up playing for Kendall, and I did well there, but not as well as I wanted to. Like as I was doing in club soccer, it didn't really translate as much because obviously now academy is the best players in America.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
that first year in academy, when I was at the Fire, I was doing really well. But then when I came back to Kendall, I was supposed to be like the big like player because I now just came from MLS Academy, whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't do as well. I was still like a starter, but I just didn't light it up as well. So I wasn't really getting, and I wasn't getting as great of college offers. I was getting some good schools, but not like top schools yet. Then we
Hmm.
went to the academy playoffs, and I did really well. So Akron ended up coming to me, and they were like, "We really, really like you. We want to offer you a full scholarship." Like on the spot, they did that. And I was just
Wow.
like, "Whoa!" I didn't know anything about Akron at the time, but I never
Yeah.
wanted to go to college. So I ended up turning it down, and then I went over to England, signed a professional contract. So I was there for about 3, 4 months. So that was my first time being away from home on my own as an adult, and
Hmm.
I got homesick. And it was a good experience, and I learned a lot about myself, but it didn't quite work out. So I ended up coming back to Florida.
Okay.
Now signed my eligibility away because I signed a pro contract at the
Yeah.
time. It was an academy contract where I was just getting a stipend, but it was technically a pro. So at
Yeah.
first I didn't have my eligibility, so I was in a crossroad, and I was just like, man, like what am I going to do? Because now I can't. I don't know if I'm going to be able to play for in college, and obviously the college season I just started.
Okay.
So long story short, what I did was I went back to my old academy team and asked if I could play for them because I was still of age to play, and ended up I started doing really well for them, and now I'm lighting it up, scoring a lot of goals. Like probably um not in club soccer because club soccer is a little bit easier, but in academy I ended up scoring like 20 goals that year. But I did really well. Like I was
Okay.
like a top player in the academy for my age group that year. I was starting to get some more college interest, but no one big yet still, but Akron called me again, and Akron was like, "We've always rated you. We know that you didn't play at the highest level before until academy, but when we saw your tools, we are like, these tools translate. We think you can play in the MLS."
So this is the second
And
time after you had
this
already
is
came back.
yeah,
Okay.
right. So this what I would say is probably the craziest change in my life. So like, I graduated high school 2015, went to England, and then I came back from England and then played academy from like November of 2015 all the way to June of 2016.
Hmm.
So in that time span, I was doing the college eligibility, like to get my eligibility back. I have to do,
Yeah.
I don't know, remember what it's called, but like, because obviously I went over and got paid
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
So long story short, I started getting some offers, some decent schools, UCLA, Maryland, some bigger schools.
Decent is crazy.
Yeah, I didn't mean to say decent, but I was getting some big
Yeah,
offers now.
yeah, yeah.
But for some reason, like I really liked that Akron watched me before when I was nobody,
Hmm.
and they really liked me. So when I decided like, okay, maybe going to college would be the best route for me, I
Hmm.
ended up committing to Akron, but I didn't have my eligibility cleared yet. So I had to do like they had to do goes to the board of like the NCAA to approve it if they're going to give me my eligibility back. And the first appeal, this was in March, they declined it.
Oh
And
shit.
I was like, oh man, like, what am
Mhm.
I gonna do? Like, I can't play college. Like, and I don't know what my route is to try to play pro because I always knew I wanted to play pro.
Right.
So obviously, I attempted to go pro, didn't really work. So I'm kind of like, I want to play pro, but am I good enough? Like, I don't know because obviously I went to England League One and it didn't work out.
Hmm.
So then ended up playing. I just kept playing for my academy team. Didn't know what's gonna happen, and then the second appeal happened in May, right before the academy playoffs. And it was like the biggest weight on my shoulder, and everyone could see like it was weighing on me a lot because like now I have a school somewhere I can go stable,
Hmm.
and don't know if I'm gonna get my eligibility. And they always knew that because they and they were like fighting it. They were fighting it. I started playing like crap, and I ended up getting benched for my academy team in my last year of playing club soccer or academy soccer
Yeah, because it's
because I
weighing
was playing
heavy on the
crap.
mental.
Exactly. It
Yeah.
was weighing so much on me. And then I'll never forget this day, like the day that I got called from my coach from Akron, who's Jared Embick at the moment. He's still there,
Hmm.
saying, we just got approved for your eligibility. They gave it back to you. I had a game that Saturday. I probably had the craziest club game of my
Went
game.
off.
I scored the most
Yeah.
goals I ever scored in a club game. I scored 5 goals in one game just because
Jesus
it's just like
Christ.
I was so happy. No, trust me, there's crazier things you would hear. There's guys who play in the MLS right now scored like 9 goals in their club games
Yeah,
before. So
nah.
five is nothing.
That's five to me. Five is crazy, bro. If I ever had five in the season, I'm going crazy.
Yeah, no, fair enough, fair enough. But got the eligibility back, so
Mhm.
ended up committing to Akron fully, signed my letter of intent. I went to Akron that summer. So now, so 2015, I left for England. Now,
Mhm.
2016, a year later, I'm going to Akron.
Right.
So I'm coming into Akron. One of the big agreements I had with my mom, because I attempted to go pro and I left college offers on the table. She's like, "You're gonna get your associate's degree no matter what."
Okay.
And I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Like, I don't want to, I don't care about college, but it's like, my plan was to go for 2 years to make my mom happy.
Okay.
I didn't know if I was going to be like a starter coming into Akron right away, nothing like that. Like, they did give me a full scholarship, but you know how college soccer is. So
Hmm.
I think for the preseason, like, I didn't do great, honestly. And I just kind of, but like, I always was kind of a hard worker at the time when I was younger. But long story short, I ended up breaking into the team. I think the first game, the year before, they were like they went Final Four, and we started off the year bad. Akron's a powerhouse team, so they
Right.
expect to be.
Right.
So the first game they played me, I ended up doing really well. Like the first game they played me as a starter, I did really well.
Hmm.
Ended up doing really well at Akron, and then coming to the end of the year, they had the end of the season award. So I was up for. So I won that year, freshman of the year for my conference, and then I was freshman of the year for like the NCAA. And then I was not a
God
Mac
damn.
Herman. No, I did well in college. I
Hey,
wasn't a
listen,
Mac Herman
I'm not
finalist.
hearing this nonsense anymore of I wasn't good, I wasn't
No,
a
I
good
promise you,
player.
I was not. I would
Nah.
say from the ages of 16 to 18, so a 2 year span,
Mm.
I like everything I probably missed in development from before 16 back, like all just came to me in the 2 year span. Because I'm
Yeah.
telling you, I was really bad before that. And like, if you ask any of my friends, like from home, they will
Uh-huh.
literally tell you, like, they never thought I was gonna go pro until I left academy. So like my best friends, I didn't play with them my last year because I went to academy and stuff
Right.
until they saw me play again in college, and they were like, "Whoa!" Like no one thought I would ever go pro because it was just
Yeah.
like I was never like that. I was never good. Like it just
Mhm.
wasn't. So I ended up doing really well in college, and then I get a call from my agent at the time who was working with me. He was like, "Hey, like they want to offer you a Generation Adidas contract," and I was like, "What is that?" And I knew nothing about the MLS. Like I
Right.
always just because my family's not American, like we just never. It was always like Europe, Europe, Europe. If I'm
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
play
of course.
pro or it's go to college, get an education.
Of course.
So then he calls me. He's like, "They want to offer you a Generation Adidas contract," and I was just like, "What is that?" And he explained it to me and explained like what that is and how much you get paid right out of college. And I was like, "So that means I would go in the MLS draft?" And he was like, yeah. And I'm just like, I don't know. Like at first the offer was like it was obviously it was good, but like
Mhm.
it was still like it was like low. Like it was like 60, 70K a year to start. And this was before like the tournament, NCAA
Mhm.
tournament starts. And I think that's when people really like blow up.
Right,
The
right.
tournament starts. I did well. I ended up getting knocked out in the quarterfinals, but I did well in the tournament. And then he calls me and he was like, they want to change the offer. And then they offered me something crazy, like a big GA contract. And my draft class was pretty loaded. So like I would say you watch MLS like that, right?
Yeah, yeah, not
So in my
like that, but like that.
no, well, no, the players they're big. So Jeremy Abobasi was in my draft class,
Oh,
Miles
baller,
Robinson,
baller.
yeah, Jackson Ewell. I'm trying to think who else. Myself. I'm trying to think. Julian Gressel was in my draft
These
class
are
going
all
to
national
Miami.
team players you listed off.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
No, no, my draft class was wicked, I will say.
yeah, that's
So it's
crazy.
like it's big competition. So they
Yeah.
ended up boosting the offer a lot, and I got like a proper GA contract. So
Okay.
I'll never forget what my agent was like. I was like, "You're gonna have to talk to my mom. She's not gonna be happy about this. I want to do it, but she's not gonna be happy." And I remember the first time he called my mom, and my mom was just like, "Nah, you need to stay in school." And then he was like, "Oh, my mom's name is Sarah." So everybody calls it like it's in the crib and you say like Miss whatever their name. So he was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, but Miss Sarah, like, let me tell you the numbers." And he told the numbers, and my mom was just like,
Yeah,
so
maybe, 1 year early is okay.
yeah, 1 year early. So I ended up going after my freshman year, and like I said, and within a year and a half, I went from not making it to England. So I ended up getting drafted third overall to NYCFC, and then that's been the start of my MLS career. So, and I've been
Yeah,
now in the MLS for 8 years. But yeah,
yeah,
no, like I went from literally like trying to figure out if I'm going to get my college eligibility to actually playing professionally in the MLS.
yeah, 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 yeah. Nah, that is crazy. The whole timeline of it all, within 1 year, all that changed. And there was
Hmm.
a shit ton of ups and downs throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would say like honestly like the one thing I will say that I've learned especially like in my pro career because of what I went through as a young kid like
mhm,
trying to just make it. I do feel like there's no adversity as bad as like trying to, like,
mhm.
I've dealt with adversity as a professional, but it's like I go back to those moments where I literally was never going to be able to play soccer again by making
Yeah,
a decision that could have affected my career for the rest of my life. It's
mhm,
like if I was able to get through that mentally, then nothing should be able to try to hold me down, like
yeah,
now. It's like whether I'm playing, whether I'm not playing, whether I'm injured, like I have to try because that I could always because I think back to then, like I could have never played again if it
yeah,
didn't go my way. So it's
yeah,
just always put your best foot forward.
yeah. And thankfully it went your way because look at what's happened after that. Damn,
Yeah,
third
no.
overall to NYCFC. So I guess talk about like a little bit about like the draft process. Um, for those that not familiar with like what is the MLS draft? Is there like a combine? Like how does it go? Is it kind of like the NFL thing where like
Yeah, no, it is. We
yeah,
do a combine. We do all that stuff. So
yeah,
we
yeah,
play,
yeah.
but I think the only difference is we played games in the combine. So you played three games in the combine. So I did well in the combine. Actually, I did win the combine player of the
This
tournament or
guy,
whatever the
bro, I'm
combine.
tired of this. Everything is I want player this, player that, man.
No, 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 no,
I'm
no.
done.
Hey, hey, you see, when everyone was younger and they got to win all their accolades, and I was on the sideline not doing
Yeah,
nothing,
yeah,
so I got to win mine now in this span. Because since then I ain't won nothing. So no, I wouldn't say I wouldn't have won nothing, but you get my point.
yeah. I
So
know what you
I
mean. I
did,
know what
I
you mean.
I did well in the combine. So it's a lot of it is like you do your physical testing, you get to play these games, and after all the days in the games, like we have like symposiums about like how life is in the MLS. We get to meet with a lot of the guys who now are the Players Association. But and then you just have your draft interviews. So I mean, I know some of the teams that wanted me. It's so funny. The story with New York is funny too because at the combine, they didn't talk. They were the last team to talk to me because they didn't have a high pick. So like when I met with them, I kind of was like, yeah, I ain't going to New York. Like because like once I started talking, like when you have your interviews, you get an idea of where you're gonna go
Okay.
because certain teams are gonna have interviews with you, knowing that they this is where they are in the draft. So like
Yeah.
I had an interview with Atlanta. So I think my draft year, number one, that was when Minnesota and Atlanta were expansion teams. So
Mhm.
Minnesota had the number one pick, Atlanta had two. Number three was Chicago Fire. Number four was I don't remember. It was DC United. And then number five was Columbus Crew.
Okay.
So I met with Atlanta. I met with Chicago. I met with DC. And I met with Columbus. And then I met with Portland, NYCFC, and Red Bull, I believe. And it's actually funny that my current coach now, Chris Armas, was in that meeting when I was
In your
18 years
preview.
old, 19
Yeah,
years
yeah,
old.
yeah.
Yeah. So I met with those teams. So I had an idea. Those were like the top picks, except for
Mhm.
NYCFC. They didn't have
Mhm.
it, and Portland both didn't have high picks. So Portland, I was familiar with Caleb Porter because he coached at Akron.
Akron,
He was
yeah.
best, like very good friends with Jared Embiid, so he used to come around. So he I was pretty sure I was gonna go to Portland because he told me straight up, like, we don't have a high pick. We're trying to trade up for the number 4 pick so we can take you. We really like you,
Hey.
blah blah blah. And my agent said that he spoke to them. So that was where I had an idea I was gonna go, or if it wasn't them, I was gonna go to Columbus Crew because they told
Okay.
me the same thing. They had the number 5 pick, so they wanted to take me. And then my last interview was New York. That was my last one. New York didn't have a first round pick. So
Okay.
they traded their first round pick the year before to get Jack Harrison.
Okay. Yeah.
And obviously that worked out very well.
He's a baller
But
overseas now.
exactly. But they didn't have a first round pick. So like I met with him. So at the time his coach was Patrick Vieira. So it was
Yeah.
Claudio Reyna, Patrick Vieira, met with them. Great conversation. And honestly, that was the best conversation I had then with all the teams. Like it was a good conversation. Just obviously their level of football knowledge
Yeah.
was
Top.
one, it's some of the
Top.
best I've ever, of
Right.
course. And then Patrick said at the end of the interview, he was just like, "Oh, I'll be seeing you very soon." And I kind of was like, "Yeah, whatever."
Yeah.
My agent told me, like, he never told me that. Like when I told him that, because I'm telling you, New York called me, like they texted me, or like, "Hey Jonathan, we want to meet with you," like last minute, like the day
Yeah.
before the draft, like last minute out of nowhere. So I'm just kind of like, yeah, like they're not gonna take me. Like, and I also said to myself, I was
Yeah.
like, they're a good team. Like, they're probably not gonna take me. And then, so I'm sitting in the draft room. So obviously, we're all sitting down. Everybody's dressed up, your suits. You take your pictures
Yeah.
before, kind of like, because it's about to be life changing. Everybody's life.
Right.
It's similar to the NFL. So it's a big
Mhm.
green room, or not green room. Sorry, big auditorium. Whatever. You're sitting. You see the teams behind. You see them texting, making calls. Trades are happening. For also not just like draft trades, but like trades in the MLS. So like, I have
Yeah.
my phone. You're on MLS Twitter, like seeing like
Yeah.
who's getting traded. I think on my draft day, we traded for Sean Johnson, who obviously is a top keeper in
Yeah.
MLS. So it's like you're seeing these trades happen for NYCFC, and it's like they're trading for like top players in the MLS. So first pick goes, I'm not picked. I didn't expect to go number 1. Atlanta comes up. I was like, okay, could be a possibility. So my agent at the time had Miles Robinson as well. So we were sitting next to each other. So they took Miles Robinson second.
Okay.
Very great choice, of course.
Mhm.
Um, so the third pick comes up, and I remember obviously I played at Chicago Fire Academy. I met with them. They also said they were really interested in me. And we're sitting down there, and I'm just like, okay, like I could get called. So my agent was predicting. So then third pick comes up, and then before the pick, they just announced Portland traded for the fourth pick. So I'm like, oh, I'm not going third. I'm gonna go fourth to Portland,
Okay.
and I'm
Yeah.
gonna be with
Yeah.
Caleb Porter. So they go, oh, New York's on the clock. So then we're just sitting there. Obviously, the time goes by. So I know that's when in draft days for NFL and stuff, that's when the commercials come on. So we're just like talking. I think
Yeah.
it was me. Miles just got drafted. He came back, and then there was another kid behind me. I don't remember who it was behind me, but we're just all like talking, kind of like, this is so crazy. Like, who expected,
Mhm.
like, didn't you guys expect this? So Don Garber comes back to the stage, and he's about to, and then he goes, we have a trade to announce. And then the trades, New York City trades up for X amount of money to get the number 3 pick. And then they're like going with the third pick, and then they call my name. And I'm looking around like, hold on, what? I'm like,
Yeah.
what just happened? Because I did not expect to get picked by New York at all. And
Yeah.
then I ended up getting traded to New York. And then when I went up to shake Patrick's hand, he was like, didn't I tell you I'm gonna see you soon? I was
Hey,
like,
he
oh my God.
knew.
He knew. So it was good. And
Yo.
then Jack Harrison was also like the MLS media person that for that weekend, just like because he
Yeah.
was a rookie the year before. So met with him, got to take pictures, and yeah, that was the rest. The rest was history. Went to preseason that week, and just that was the start of my MLS career. It was crazy, whirlwind of a week.
What a day. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Wow. 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 What?
so no,
Oh,
it was
damn. I
amazing.
can't imagine just sitting there too. You just sitting there not knowing for real. And I was about to ask
Yeah,
too, is that like, I guess, are you hearing word? Like, is your agent hearing maybe that, like,
yeah,
this might
he's on the
happen?
phone talking with people and stuff like that. He didn't know New York wanted me until the trade was about to happen. But the thing is, they had called him right when Don Garber was walking up to announce the trade happened.
So
So
just
he
the
didn't
same
get a chance.
time.
So he wasn't right next to me because he went to the back to do stuff with Miles
Mhm.
Robinson. So he was walking back. So then as he walks back, he sits down. He's like, "Oh, Johnny, I got to tell you something." And then that's when they had just announced. And then like he comes up on the stage, so everybody gets
Crazy.
quiet. And then that's what he just told me. And that's what he was supposed to tell me. He's like, "Yeah, I was about to tell you you're going to New York." I was just
Yeah.
like, that's lovely. So no, it was amazing. And what an experience New York was. I would say that definitely helped set up the career that I had with Colorado. I learned
Mhm.
so much there. Great coach and Patrick Vieira. Got to play with great players, Jack Harrison, David Villa. I got to learn so much from those guys.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, so yeah, go ahead and tell me about your time at NYCFC. I mean, you just said that's a legend. Patrick Vieira is a legend. So that's your head coach. Kind of like, are you? And then were you there when all them big guys were there too? Pirlo.
Yeah,
But yeah, bro, go ahead and just tell me about, going into a locker room with Vieira as your head coach and, these top ballers there as Vieira, Pirlo, all of them.
No, I mean it's just it's crazy. You got to see the whole end of the spectrum. So
Mhm.
obviously at the time, Jack Harrison was a young player, top probably he was the best young player in the MLS at the time. Other young players that I got to play with, James Sands, Joe Scally were there. So these are top 16-year-olds in the country. Then veterans, you got to play with David Villa, Andrea Pirlo. Um, Frank Lampard was the year before me. He retired, so I got to. But there's other players that are again top players that all international level players. So when you talk about MLS to Europe, obviously, like Europe is on a bigger scale, but
Mhm.
the players that we had at New York were players that have played at the highest level. Alex Ring was on my team, played at Borussia Mönchengladbach. We had center back Alex Kynes, played La Liga and also plays Peru's national team. Sean Johnson, U.S. national team. So every player had pedigree on that team, but obviously
Yeah.
the big ones, Andrea Pirlo and David Villa, World Cups, Euros,
Hmm.
Champions League, everything you can think of.
Yeah,
So I
they
mean,
did
just
well.
yeah, no, I think the biggest thing I saw from David, especially, particularly, is he was 35 years old, 36 years old, and you see what Messi's doing in the MLS. And at the
Mhm.
time, that was the Messi, him and Giovinco, how hard he worked. It's like he's won everything. He made them so much money. He doesn't need to work hard. And he worked harder than everyone. He
Yeah.
wanted to win. It's that drive to win. He was such a competitor.
Hmm.
And the calm and poise he had that he displayed, I think for me, that was the biggest thing that I tried to take away from him. It's just like he plays with no fear. And I think a lot of like young players, particularly American players, I do feel like they play with fear. I don't want to say they
Yeah.
play with fear, but they don't feel like they ever want to go against a coach or do something that the coach doesn't want. And they're scared to make a mistake. And it's like, I'm telling you right now, like this guy is arguably one of the greatest strikers to ever play the game. And he's human. He made a lot of mistakes in training.
Yeah.
Obviously, he did unbelievable stuff, but like he would shoot the ball. And obviously, this is the guy who scored 400 or 500 career goals. You know how many times in training he would shoot the ball over the net and miss like easy tap ins? And you're like, wait, he's really just human. And then
Yeah.
he would bang them too. But the thing that I took from him, it's not the bangers and it's not the chip goals that he scored, but it's he would shoot the ball and score, and he would shoot it again. And if he blasted it over the bar, he would shoot it again.
Yeah.
And he would do the
No.
same shot every
Hmm.
time, and he would just keep going. And he had that relentless nature. Same thing with Andrea Pirlo. Obviously, in a different light, he was the pass specialist. But
Hmm.
if he lost the ball when he checked deep and he lost the ball in training, he would do it again. And if he did it in the game and lost the ball, he'd do it again.
Yeah.
It's that relentless nature is what I think I see the difference from like MLS, like American players that have the quality to play overseas. It's like their mentality is just different than ours. There's like, I think they because they're so used to playing in high pressure situations that mentality that nothing phases them is like ingrained into them. You know what I mean? So like I said, just like everybody used to say like, yeah, they feel like they're playing like David, especially obviously he won an MVP in MLS, that he's playing against inferior players. But I said it's not that he's playing against inferior players. It's that in his head, he's the best. And
Yeah.
he's going to keep doing whatever he does that makes him the best. So
Yeah.
if he shoots the ball and misses the goal, he's going to shoot it again because he knows he's the best and that he can hit it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they have that's the biggest thing I picked up. It's that relentless mindset. And that was something that Patrick used to say to me. So, when I was getting drafted, one thing I did become good at was, as I told you, scoring. So
Hmm.
I was good as a young winger. Like I was good at coming in off the left and shooting the ball. And he used to, but at the pro level now, your windows are smaller. Your touches
Right.
inside have to be cleaner.
Right.
So a lot of time when I would come in, I'm off balance. I wasn't always hitting the target cleanly. And he would tell me, it's like, this is what you need to practice. And this is what you have to consistently do it. Until my second MLS start, I ended up scoring my first goal. No, it was my third, my first ever goal. And it was the exact same thing. Came off the left, beat somebody, cut in, shoots it. Didn't hit it cleanly, but the fact is that I stayed on balance and I was able to score. But it's
Hmm.
like that relentless attitude to keep doing the things that make you good. And another big thing they say is don't be afraid to. A lot of people don't like to work on the things that they're not good at because they continuously mess up.
Yeah.
But it's like seeing how you mess up is how you correct errors. And
Right.
that's something that like I really embraced, especially when got traded to Colorado because I didn't play as much in New York. And I was probably not as good as those guys yet. So I needed to get a trade to get my foot on the ground and actually play consistently, which
Hmm.
Colorado gave me that opportunity. It worked out. But when I got to Colorado now, I'm actually getting to play games consistently. I took what they said about messing up is how
Get better.
and
Yeah.
that messing up is how you get to see how you need what you need to get better, and don't be afraid to keep messing up. And I
Hmm.
started to really ingrain that. And it's like, and it was hard not getting to play all the time to have that confidence, like if you mess up to keep going.
Hmm.
But as I started to play more and I realized it's like playing without fear really helps a
Hmm.
lot. And I would say is like obviously again, there's players who are just they're just touched by God, Messi, the Neymars. They're the
Yeah,
best players
yeah,
ever. But like when I watch like LAFC for me, one of my favorite players to watch is Dennis Bouanga as a winger.
yeah. That
He's
boy
the best.
goes at
Yeah,
anyone.
exactly.
Hmm.
But if you watch how Bouanga plays, for me, it's like he's just relentless. He's so good, but he's relentless. We played them 2 weeks ago, and I would say like they kind of struggled a little bit against us playing in the altitude. It's hard, but
Yeah.
like this guy, he just consistently dribbling guys, just dribbling guy. He plays with this relentless attitude. He would lose the ball. He didn't care. He shoot the ball. And like, you know what I mean? I think for me,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
guys at the next level, you watch what they do. It's like they're so not afraid of if they mess up that something can happen that like you can see it in their game. And
Yeah.
that's why you see them do the crazy things, the Messis. Because that people act like what he's doing in the MLS, he wasn't doing in Europe. He did exactly this
No,
in
he's
Europe.
doing the same thing. It's the same
Exactly.
person.
It's because he plays with that mindset
Yeah.
that like he is the best, but I'm gonna dribble, I'm gonna shoot, I'm gonna make the passes, and if someone picks it off, I'm gonna do it again. And I'm
Yeah,
gonna keep
yeah,
doing
yeah.
it until it works.
Yeah.
You know, and that's something that I will say is I saw with David Villa, especially, and that's how he played that relentless mindset.
Yeah.
So that's like the biggest thing I learned. And I would say with Patrick, like he preached that a lot. Obviously, he was a big, energetic midfielder when he played in his prime. Obviously,
Hmm.
technically sound, but like he always used to say that it doesn't matter how good you are because if you play with fear, that was the biggest. Like his always talk he said before games is like F the tactics. Doesn't matter who you're playing. If you're scared to play this game, if you're not ready to make mistakes, accept the mistakes and move on, you're going to lose this game. And he would
Yeah.
always say that. And I felt like that's why we were a good team, not because we had top players in the MLS, because we had top players in the MLS they were always willing to just fight every day.
Hmm.
And it didn't matter if you made mistakes. It didn't matter when we had bad games, we could win games because they never got down that we got scored on. They never got down that we made mistakes as a team because
Yeah,
we
we
were so
go
prepared
again.
for that.
Yeah.
Exactly. We were so
Yeah.
prepared for that.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's how we were prepared.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Were you on the team that also won at
No, so
New York
I got traded 2 years before.
2 years before? So how long did you
Yeah.
spend at New York?
So I was there all of 2017, all of 18, and then half of 19.
Okay. Did you overlap some time with Seb Ibiaga?
Yeah, so Seb's my
Okay.
boy.
Yeah, yeah. We had
Yeah.
him on here about like I say a month ago. Bro, that
Okay.
guy is funny as hell. Some of the stories that man
Yes.
was telling about Vieira, oh, I was
Yeah.
laughing.
Nah. So that's who I used to hang out with when I was in New York. So we had
Okay.
Saad Abdul Salam, who I don't know where Saad's playing now, but played for Kansas City and played for
Mm,
Columbus as well. Seb, myself, we had a guy Kwame Awuah from Toronto. He played at New York and now he plays at Loudoun. And then Sean Johnson, who was obviously at Toronto. So
yeah.
that was like our squad right there. So yeah, no, me and Seb are cool. We just played against him last night, so I was just chatting with him. He's at Dallas now, but
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know he
yeah.
won with LAFC. So yeah, no, we were all on that team together in New York. So
Word, word. So do you have a funny story about Vieira that you've had?
yeah, this guy's he's a kid. He's actually a kid.
That's
Like
that's exactly what Seb said on here too, bro.
no, he's actually like he's a grown kid. So like he'd be coach. Like obviously he's a serious coach. When you're on the field
Yeah.
though, that guy is. But off the field, like you let's just like we had a ping pong table and you'll be playing ping pong. This guy will just come and just stand over there. You make a mistake, he'll be like, you could never see me on this. I'm just like, bro, no, you're not even part of it. And then he'll just be like he just talks a lot of crap, and he's just funny though. He is funny, like, but like he's a kid, and like you'll be sitting there eating breakfast, and he'll just come and just flick you on the ear, and see the shit like that all the time. Like he's so funny, man. And like, but very personable guy. He's hilarious, man. And like I said, good coach. You can go speak to him. He's always honest with you. And yeah, no, he's great. He's honestly, I would definitely say like, and it's crazy to say this because I didn't. Oh wow, Real Madrid just scored, but I didn't.
That boy got ball on the TV, man. That's pure passion
Then,
right there.
but no, and I didn't play as much as I would have liked on in New York, but I would
Yeah.
definitely say, probably the most influential coach I had as a professional player. Like, like what I learned under him, like because the thing is like the one thing that I always respected about him, like you didn't play. If you go ask, what do I need to work on or what do I need to do to play? He never BS'd you. And
Yeah.
that was the one thing I loved about him. He would tell you straight up. So when I wasn't playing my rookie year and I felt like, you're a young kid, you feel like you should play, you're doing well
Mhm.
in training. He my world came crashing down on me. He told me I ain't doing X, Y, Z, Z, A, B, and C. I said, whoa, I ain't gonna play ever, ever. But once I got A, B, C, D, Z, X, Y down,
Yeah.
I started to get a run of
They're playing
games,
a
and
little
then,
bit. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So, but no, he was amazing as a person, as a player, and obviously as a coach.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So you do 2.5 in New York, and then you go over to Colorado. So what was that like making a switch over there, and wanting to find more playing time?
No, so Colorado came in. So originally, when I was getting traded to Colorado, Columbus Crew actually were coming in for me at the time. It was Columbus and then Toronto FC at the
Okay.
time, but I ended up going to Colorado. And at the time, they didn't have a head coach, or we, I should say, because I'm still here, but
Yeah.
we didn't have a head coach at the time, so it was an interim coach. But I came in on a Wednesday, I think, and I'm playing that Saturday in the Derby match against Salt Lake, and from then it's just I was getting a run of games, and I think what changed my career. So I think going into that season, 2019, I got called into a January national team camp. So at 2017, I played a lot of games in New York.
Yeah.
2018, I didn't play at all, like at all. And I got loaned out to the USL. And I didn't do great in the USL, honestly. Went to
Mhm.
Louisville. They won it all that year, but I played only like 5 games there, but I didn't really do great there. Like I didn't my in the run of play, I was pretty good, but I had 1 assist in 5 games. I didn't like
Yeah.
light it up. So I was definitely worried that like, my career was about to like, I was going to get after 2019, like I was going to be screwed. Like,
Mm.
some kids who have bright futures end up going to the USL. And then I got called into the national team, Greg Berhalter's first ever January camp in 2019. And I was not supposed to be there. I'm
Why
gonna
why
keep it
you
a
say
buck.
that?
But I didn't even play in MLS.
Yeah.
How can I play a national team game? I've not even played 30 games in MLS.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Okay.
I got called in. I don't know. Maybe there was an injury that happened, but Greg had a very specific system that he wanted. And, there's not at the time, and still to this day, there's not a lot of American attackers who do play in MLS. So I
Mhm.
was one of the, I don't think he had a lot of selection to really choose from. So I got called in on a whim. I know him and Claudio were good friends. He
Mhm.
called Claudio and asked about me because he always liked me from when I was in college and stuff. So he
Right.
called me in. But I was like, I definitely was coming in to just be a training player. I was a 28 man camp. I was going in there. Well, I went there and I was just happy to be there. So it's
Mhm.
one of those, when there's no pressure on you, you play your
Yeah,
best.
bro. There's vibes.
That's how it was. I don't know what happened. Long story short, ended up making the actual game roster somehow. I actually got in, got 2 assists in both the games against Panama, Costa Rica. And I think
Okay.
that brought my career from like
Back up.
here right back up. Got
Yeah.
traded to Colorado, and now I'm playing every single game. And I got called into the Gold Cup that summer,
Mhm.
2019. And, I got a game in the Gold Cup. We went to the finals, we lost, but that experience, and I would definitely say like Colorado helped me a lot. Like I'm playing consistently. So now I'm getting to show what I really can do. And I was able
Yeah.
to get in the national team pretty consistently, played in 2 Gold Cups. I've played, I think I've played with Colorado like 175 games now. Like I'm,
Yeah,
I'm
for a
closing in on
while now.
200. Yeah, I've been here for
Yeah.
6 years now. So,
Yeah,
so I'm
yeah, yeah.
closing on 200 games now, but I've played a lot of games for Colorado and it's just been, we've had good ups and downs. My first year, we went on a ridiculous run and we almost made the playoffs the last game of the season. 2020 we made the playoffs for the first time. I don't know how long. And then 2021 was our best season. That was the year before Kellen got traded to LA. We were
Hmm.
top of the West. We beat
Hmm.
LAFC last game of the season
Yeah, yeah.
to secure top of the West. Thank you, LA. Nah, joking. Obviously, the top team. So, but no, I mean, we had some great times and we had some not so good times last year.
Mm.
Obviously, wasn't great. I think we were last in the West the year before we didn't make the playoffs. So it's been ups and downs, and I've been able to learn a lot here because I would definitely say like there's been times where I was able to be the man on Colorado, and there's been times where like I would definitely say last year I took a back seat. I didn't play as much. I was injured
Yeah.
a lot. You know, so I think now with the team, we know we have a new coach, good coach.
Hmm.
Team is rolling right now, and it's like
Hmm.
my goal is I am taking a back seat. I wasn't a starter to start the season. but now it's like, I see an opportunity for me to get in the team. So it's like, I
Yeah.
see that there's light with this team and that we could be a very good team this year. So I've learned a lot here, and I think I learned a lot more from the playing side of the game because I got to play a lot, learned a lot about my strengths, my weaknesses on a consistent,
Mhm.
and just being able to just learn those things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And what was the two not World Cup, Gold Cups you were talking about? Was it 19 and 21?
Yep.
21 is the one that we won.
Yeah, that was the one we won.
Was that the one that you scored into?
No, I've never scored in a Gold Cup, sadly. I've
Oh,
scored some
okay.
national team goals, not in a Gold Cup.
Okay, okay,
So
okay.
in the final, Miles Robinson scored the game winner
Oh,
against
that's
Mexico.
right. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right. You're right.
Yeah,
You're
so
right.
that was an unbelievable moment. I'll never forget. Like we won that game running. That was so post COVID. That was the
Yeah,
first sold out soccer game in America, and now what, a year, 2 years or whatever.
yeah,
So sold out at Legion Stadium, 70,000, crazy.
yeah. No, that game
All
itself was
Mexican
crazy.
fans,
Yeah,
all Mexican fans, all Mexican fans.
it was.
But it was amazing. It was an amazing experience, and I got to win my first trophy as a professional.
Yeah,
So that was just an amazing experience. Playing with top players in MLS, guys from Europe, and just that was an amazing experience.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So this is what, like a month or 2 months into this season right now? Just about?
Yeah,
Okay, so what's kind of some goals you got for yourself with Colorado, and then I guess overall in your career, the next 4, 5, 6 years.
I definitely would say, for first things first, I want to try to get back in the team, and
Yeah,
I would definitely say the last year and a half, I've went from 2021, 2022, where I would probably say I was one of the better wingers in MLS to, like, now right now I'm on the back burner, which is
mm,
okay. So I think this year for me, it's about just reigniting my career and getting myself back, people talking about me and, helping the team win as much as I can. But, I'll
hmm,
be honest, like I want to break back into the starting 11 and be our most dangerous attacking player and just
yeah,
become a force to reckon with again. Again, it was not long ago where teams would on their scouting report be like, okay, watch out for Johnny Lewis versus now, like we have to be honest, like no one is saying that now. So it's okay. But that's my goal is just like, get back in the team. I want to be the leading scorer of our team. And, but mainly it's just, I would definitely say is just put eyes back in my direction. Do whatever I can to put eyes in my direction. It's just getting back to just playing with no fear, getting back to what made me good, what people do know me for, the ability to beat players off the dribble and just play quick and run
yeah,
off the ball. But, I
real
think people
quick.
know me as yeah, I know people know me that I can dribble players. So it's like,
Mm,
I would say in the last year, I don't do that anymore. I wasn't doing that. I was playing with no confidence or not. And now, so just getting back to that. So I would say that's my goal is just getting eyes back in my direction.
yeah, 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 yeah. You're brewing right now, bro. Getting right, rehabbing and everything, bro. Don't give
Yes,
don't
yes,
give that
sir.
boy a little bit of time on the field and a lot of space on the flank, bro. I'm telling you, it's a right back's worst nightmare.
Yeah, so I'm hoping I can get back, back running on the field this week
Yeah.
coming up. So
Okay.
another week or two, I should be back on the pitch. So
Right.
knock on wood, there's no
Okay.
injuries for the rest of the year, but
Yeah,
I
yeah,
wanna
yeah.
wanna wanna light it up. That's my goal. And then for the team is help the team as much, but I do think we have something good going on right now. And I think everybody sleeps on us, and
Mm,
that's how it's been. And I don't think it's completely wrong to sleep on us because we've had ups and downs. 21, we were a very good team. We did trade some pieces that year. Then we went 2 years in the gutter. But I think now we're showing, we're beating. I mean, we played Miami. We did well against Miami. We played LAFC is for me the best team in the West. We were able to beat them. So I think we're doing good in games now. So, I
mm,
do think people should take notice of us. I'm not saying you have to respect us, but to take notice. I think we're
yeah.
we're we're starting to command a little bit more respect now. So I think for the team, making the playoffs and trying to make a run, I think that would be the goal for myself for the team. I want us to
Yeah.
compete this year and be a team that people are talking about, just like in 21.
Respect, respect. And they'll come to, bro. Just give it a little bit of time. But overall, I
100%.
guess with your career, do you have any aspirations to one, get back to the national team, play at the national level, or and two, maybe try overseas, go back overseas. You're 10 years removed from going over there the first time, seeing what it's like over there.
Yeah. No, I definitely would say I think a lot of Americans have opened up the door overseas, and I think
Mm,
like I would say if that opportunity were to arise, I would love to try. It's just like at the end of the day, it's been my dream to try to play overseas. I always wanted
yeah,
to play in the Premier League. And to be honest, I know a lot of people would probably say if they were to watch this and be like, "Oh, he has no chance to play in the Premier League," but it's like you never know. I would say I'll give you a story. One player that I played with here in Colorado. Uh, his name's Austin Trusty. I think if you look at his career trajectory, young player playing at Philadelphia Union, really good, ended up not playing anymore. Got traded to Colorado, didn't play in Colorado, and had one. It just takes one season. Had a
Yeah.
great season with us, and he was always good enough. He was always good enough. And now look at him. The kid was the best center back in the championship a year ago,
Yep.
and now he's playing in the Premier League for Sheffield United,
Yep.
gone to the national team, and no one thought that. And the thing is like I think seeing things like that, no one there's other players that are doing so well. Obviously you have the Christian Pulisic, the Weston McKennies, they're the top players, of course.
Right. Right.
They sell themselves, but to say one player or not could not do it just because they may not light up MLS or not, for me it's like I used to believe that, and now I don't believe it anymore. And it's like for me, it's like if I have the opportunity to go, I want to go and be able to show myself. It's because I know I do believe that I'm good enough that I could actually get back in the national team and I can get into a good European setup and actually do well over there. So for me, it's all about putting myself in the window first to get back in the national team and then trying to make the putting myself in the window to go to a European club where I can actually play, where I can play and do
Mm.
well and succeed, and then getting to the national team. But I do have aspirations to get back in the national team. And I will say my agent used to tell me this, like, if you were there before, then you're up, then you're good enough. It's just the
True.
reasons why someone's not there is either consistency but you're not there because you're not good enough. You were
Right.
there because at one point you were doing something that was good enough. So if you're good enough to be there, it's how do you be there consistently? And it's obviously consistent performances and X, Y,
Right.
and Z. But I think that resonated for me. That was like, if I'm good enough to be in the national team, I'm probably good enough to play in Europe. Not to say I'm good enough to play for Chelsea, of course not. But
I don't know in the
if you're
current
good enough,
state right now, bro. You might be able to help them boys.
but you never know. That's the
Yeah.
thing. And it's
Yeah.
like, if I always just sit there and I say, like, like I do think a lot of players who are good enough in MLS to go to Europe, they don't take the leap of faith. It's like, I do believe there's a lot of MLS players that will have an overwhelming amount of success in certain European leagues. And I think for me, that's why it's like, like there's some players who maybe not Americans per se, but have struggled in MLS and have gone back to Europe and have done well, some European guys, and they've done very well. It's like, I do think that at the end of the day, it's football. And it's like, quality is quality, whether you play in MLS or you play in the Premier League. It's like I said, if you were good enough to be on, if you're good enough to be a national team, I do believe you're good enough to play at a good level in Europe. And I
Mhm.
do believe, like, if I was good enough once to be on the national team, if I can get in consistent performances at a respectable enough level, then I'd be good enough to get back in the national team. So I would say I have dreams that I want to try to get back in the national team, try to get on the World Cup team in 2026. I'll only be 28 then, maybe 29. So I'll still be in my prime. So I think it's not far fetched to go into the
Yeah.
World Cup. It's just, but I need to put myself in a window where I can play well in Europe. I do think for me to get a national team, I would have to go to Europe.
Yeah. 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 Okay. All right. Hey, those are some solid goals right there, bro. You got a lot of time, and everything will go the way it's supposed to go. Always that. But listen, we'll ask a couple of questions on basically like get to know you type shit.
Yeah.
And then from there we'll just wrap it up. So first,
Yes,
and
sir.
it's off of a little Instagram. So I put a thing up on there being like, questions for the boy and all this. So some people coming in with some questions. So first, what are you listening to before a match to get you in that mode?
Uh, I have a decent selection, but I would say for hip hop, I'm a big hip hop guy. So I mostly listen to Lil Baby, Gunna,
Okay.
and some Future. I would say those are my top three.
Okay.
And then I'll also listen to dancehall music, which is Jamaican music, Caribbean music. So, but most of the time I'm listening to some Baby, Gunna, or Future. I would say Baby and Gunna are like my go-tos.
Yeah, those are
And
two.
yeah, I would also throw in some Kendrick and J. Cole as well. I love Kendrick Lamar, I love J. Cole. So, but they don't produce music all the time.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I'm always listening to Gunna and Baby because they're always putting out something new. Future, the new Future album was tough.
Yep.
So, but I'm always the Atlanta rappers for sure. I love
Yeah, they
those.
got it, huh?
They got it.
All right, second, what has been your favorite goal you scored professionally thus far?
My favorite goal. Nah, it's probably my first ever against LA
Okay.
Galaxy. It wasn't my best for sure. It was kind of a lucky goal to be honest, but
Mhm.
I was 19 years old, scored my first goal ever against a big team like the LA Galaxy, and just doing it in LA. It was a full stadium, and that to me, it was a surreal moment. It was like that moment, like, damn, I'm really like I'm here, like I actually can play at this level. And then I got known for doing knee slides and always messing them up. So I knee slid. and hit the turf and just like
And
tumbled
kept
over.
rolling.
So that yeah, that got a meme all around MLS. So, but no, like that's probably my favorite goal of all
Yeah,
time for
man.
sure.
Yeah, yeah. All right. All right. Before I ask this question, I gotta ask this. Are you known to be putting that shit on?
What you mean?
Is your closet deep?
Oh, come on, you should know this by now. Everybody knows this. I'm into fashion. I'm more
All
into
right.
streetwear, but I have a lot of shoes. I have over 100 pairs of shoes.
Okay, okay, that boy is sneakerhead. So the
Yes,
question
sir.
is, pulling up to the stadium, let's say you know you starting, it's a big game, a night game, home game. What's the fit?
Whew. Hmm. Kind of changed up. It's kind of how I like to dress now. I started getting into more well, I don't know. Let me think. Night game. What's the weather? Cold or warm?
Cold. Let's not like crazy cold, but cold enough to where you could layer up a little bit.
Nah, so what's the fit? I could go pea coats are fire.
Oh wow.
So I have an off-white pea coat that I
Oh
have worn
shit.
before. So I go probably like off-white pea coat. Hmm. I don't know if I would put a hoodie under, to be honest. So I'm trying to think how cold it could be, but I'd
Okay.
probably rock some type of pea coat. Um, Depending if I want to go casual, I would probably just wear some cargo pants, but I'll make sure they have a little flare in them. So
Okay.
not just like plain black cargos, uh whether if it is plain black, then I'll do some type of slit in it, make sure like it has like something that like catches the eye still. But I also started getting into more like I don't know if you've seen, but like with jeans, like when they have like the paint splatters on them, or
Yep.
like the Chrome
Yep.
Hearts jeans, or they have some more designs on the jeans. So
Yeah.
started getting into more of that. So some type of cargo pants, but I would make sure they're a little bit more poppy. So whether it's camel cargos, whether it's like the paint splatter cargos, or
Mm.
if it is black, it's gonna be like deep slits in it. Uh,
Okay. Details are important here.
yeah, 100%. Um, and then depending on how cold it is, I like to rock beanie. So I could wear a beanie, make sure I have a
Okay.
nice fade. And then, but for me, the detail comes in the shoes always. So
All right.
shoes determine the fit for me. So I know normally when I go into the closet, I look at my shoes and I say, okay, which pair of shoes I'm gonna rock today.
Yeah,
So
you like me.
depending on, yeah. So if I'm wearing low ones or like
Okay.
low Travises, then I'll rock jeans. But if I'm wearing high tops, like some fours, if I'm wearing high top Dior's, then I'm gonna wear either cargo pants or some dress pants.
Yeah, that boy got it. That boy certified sneakerhead. He just listed some
Yeah,
big steppers right
yeah.
there.
Nah, I will say that's the one thing I would say. Like, I would say for me in the fashion game, like that's where I would say I probably stand out because I have shoes. I know everybody can get shoes, but like I think where I'm good is like I do think some people can wear like the suits and all that stuff, or even with the
Yeah.
streetwear brands, like they got it too. I think I have that, but I think where I coordinate good is like it's not really like tees I wear or the pants I wear. It's gonna be like my shoes always match my fit and they
Mhm.
complement my fit all the time. I would say that.
Okay.
So because I like to wear crazy color shoes, but then
Mhm.
like I might wear like a crazy color shoes with like a white tee, but it will have like some type of color scheme to the shoe. So let's just say it's like red and blue, for example. Like I'll wear red and blue on the shoes, but then my shirt might be like it'll be a white shirt, but then it'll be a little bit of maybe just a little bit of red and white, but depending on where it is, like it could be in the lettering, like the red will be in the lettering, and then
Okay.
like maybe if there's like an animation on it, then the animation would be blue. Like that's how I kind of like match with my shoes and stuff. But like,
Okay.
yeah, for me, it's all about the shoe. For me, it's the shoe game is number one. How can you match the shoe game? And I'll do things like when I'm matching too, like for example, like I have the off-white, the Jordan ones, the high tops, the UNCs. So
Mhm.
like people would think, oh, you're gonna match the white or the light blue, but nah, I got stuff I match the orange, the off-white tag, like or
Ooh.
the laces. Like you know what I mean? Like that's where I
Yeah.
try to be different. Like it's not just oh they do the blues or do the whites or like
Nah.
like I'll come in with like a white with some orange on it that complements the blue and the orange on the
So it's
shoes. You
all
know what I'm
put
saying? Like
together. I feel you. All
all
colors
put
are
together.
complimented.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. And like I've done stuff where like I said, like when I wear like camo, for example, like camo cargos, like
Mm.
red goes nice with camo cargo. So like can you do red camo cargos and some gray? Like that would go. So even though the colors don't match, they complement.
Compliment. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Uh,
Okay. Okay. Yeah. You putting that shit on. From that answer, you putting that
uh,
shit on.
so I would say I'm mostly into the streetwear. Where I want to get into
Okay.
more is like, like there's dudes I've seen in the league that they can rock like I would say the smart casual dress, but it's like the smart dress, like the
Yeah.
button ups, and so I'm not quite there yet. So I would say like I'm still into the streetwear brands and
Okay.
all that stuff and that type of dress, but I
Okay.
think that I have locked. So I need to I want to get more to like the suit swag and the button up swag. Like if I can start getting that. So I'm starting to put those pieces together though
Okay.
now. So
Okay. Slowly.
I got some
Slowly.
once I come back, I got some things coming up.
All right. Respect. So what's since you were a big sneakerhead, what's the latest pickup?
Dang, I would have to go in my closet and look. Whew.
Off dome. Off dome. What's the first one you could think of you got recently?
Dang, let's see. I'm gonna go on my Go app right now, actually.
Oh, wow, that boy ready.
To be fair, I haven't bought a pair of sneakers since the end of last year though. What did I get? I'm gonna go right now. All right, owns. Let's see, my latest pickup. I got the Crenshaw Skate Club Dunks. These ones. I don't know if you can see these.
Yeah, 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 a little bit. You got those. Okay.
Yeah, that was my latest pickup. So I also don't just try to go for all the everyone's. And then I got the Travis the olives. I did get
Those are
those.
smooth. Those are smooth.
Yeah, so
What you
I have
what you think
second.
about the Asics? You into this Asic vibe?
So I haven't got on that yet,
Okay.
but like so I'm not crazy on the ASIC vibe. I'm not gonna
Okay.
lie. I know a lot of people are, but I'm just not crazy on it. You know what shoe that a lot of people don't know about too? This is more European style, but you ever heard of Vejas or Vejas?
Nah, I haven't.
Nice. So it's something that I was into like from years ago, but it's Vejas. They're it's just a European brand, but
Oh,
fire. But like
Veja.
yeah,
It's got the
Vejas.
V on the
Yeah.
sides of the lows. Yeah, I
Yes,
seen
yes,
those. I
yeah.
seen those.
Yeah, so that's something a lot of people don't know about Vejas, but I be rocking Vejas all the
Yeah, you want
time.
Veja?
So yeah, I'm on Veg, but I'm not on the ASIC
Yeah.
way. I don't know. The thing is, I don't like the too mainstream stuff though either. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Don't get me wrong. Like the Jordans, I know are mainstream, but that's why I be trying to pick up like dunks and stuff like that that like not everyone's trying to get. So like
Yeah.
I have the Doritos dunks. Like those are
Yeah.
hard to rock. You know,
Yeah.
like what I mean? Like though, but like I have things that go with the Doritos dunks. You know what I mean? Like I have like I'm trying to think what other dunks I have. The Chunky Dunkies. Like
Hmm.
those are obviously they're big, but like now no one's just gonna rock them like that. But like I have like tees in there that like match perfect with the Chunky Donkeys. Like you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and I have some mainstream shoes for sure. I mean I
Right.
think but like I would say my mainstream shoes that I have, it's like they're like the bigger boy shoes. So like I have the Travises, I have a lot of the top Jordan ones, the off whites. I'm trying to think. I
Hmm.
got the Union ones, the LA Unions. I have Union fours. I have I'm trying to think what else I have. I have like all the Travises. I have the Jordan 4 off whites. So that's what I be spending my
Big
money on the
stepper.
shoes. I
Hey,
ain't gonna
big
cap.
stepper. I hear you.
I try to do I save my money for shoes. That's the thing. Like
I hear you. I
so
hear
don't
you.
worry,
That's
I
that.
invest too. Don't worry. But the shoes are important. Nah, I like the fashion game, like
Yeah.
I'd rather buy shoes than go buy food.
Hey, that's smoking
That's
like a
how it
true
is.
sneakerhead right there.
Sir. So
But
now I got a lot of shoes. I got rid of a lot too, to be honest. Like I sold a bunch,
mm,
and I still have over 100. So there's some I don't even wear anymore. But like I was just telling my girlfriend too. I was just like I need to start wearing like I feel like it's because clothes go through phases. Like brands, like,
right,
Supreme used to be so big, so I
right,
had
right,
so much
right.
Supreme stuff, and Supreme's is not big. So it's like I have the tees, they still fit me. So like now what I do is I just rock them to training. So it's just like I'll pull up the training like full Supreme fit. It's just
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. Just
like
to
I'll
wear
be
your
like,
shit. You gotta wear your
because
shit though.
exactly, you know what I mean? It's like some of the newer brands that are like that, like Rude, for example. I ain't going to just wear Rude to training. Like Rude is like a nicer brand, you know what I mean? But
Right.
like I would definitely say like Off White is still big, but Off White's
Yeah,
more like mainstream now. It's like I'll wear Off White to training now, or just like
yeah.
everyday stuff, like But just because I do buy clothes and shoes a lot, so it's like they're gonna get old, and
Mm,
so I would say like now it's like I will say like I got to the point where like what I could wear as everyday stuff now. Like I could wear some like good brands as everyday stuff, like some Off-White, some Supreme, Antisocial Club. I have some Kiss stuff that are like everyday
Shit,
stuff.
that boy got
Like,
it all.
and one I will say though, it's expensive to maintain
Nah,
a nice closet. I will say that. So that's why I
yeah.
haven't been into it as much right now. So, but when I get a new contract, I'm back on it.
Oh, he going crazy.
I'm back on it. Don't worry. Don't worry. That's yeah. I'm gonna eat this year. Now when I get that signing bonus end of the year, I'm back on it.
That's hilarious. Yeah,
Yes,
bro.
sir. Back on it.
Hey, listen, man. I appreciate you, you hopping on, spending some time, some energy, sharing some stories with us and everything. I've enjoyed this conversation with you, man. Getting to know
Yes,
you more,
sir.
hearing your story and everything. But yeah, bro, thank you for getting on and everything.
This was fun. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no doubt.